Sometimes you have to wait up to 8 hours before the spirochete bacteria becomes so relaxed that now it starts to move around. But with all the aforementioned ways of testing for Lyme, you still don't know which strain, which co-infections, which secondary infections you have. So that's not really an accurate way of testing. The best way to test for Lyme, or any other disease for that matter, do it energetically. Electrodermal is the most accurate, the least invasive, and the best test for Lyme or any other disease. This is our approach at TrueFocus Health and Wellness Center. We do oral due diligence. We go through the primary scanning of the body. We do all the necessary procedures. We always try to think outside the box. So when I see red flags that come up on my screen, for example, if I see cytomegalovirus shows up, or babesia or plasmodium, then I'm thinking, okay, I need to dig deeper to see if Lyme is active or if just some of the co-infections that's showing up. So I have a detox tray that's got all those little critters on there, and I bring up Borrelia burgdorferi. If that's positive, then the computer will automatically insert it, and I set it aside. Then I have a list that I put all the strains and all the co-infections, and I just go down the list. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And whatever it's positive goes into the left of the screen, and that's inserted into the program, and that becomes the member's permanent record. We can also determine where did the infections come from. Was it a mosquito? Was it an ant? Was it a spider? Did they got that from their partner because it's transmitted through sexual contact? How long have they had Lyme? Were they born with it? Has it been 2 years? Has it been 3 years, 5, 10, 20, 30? How many times have they been infected? Once, twice, 10, 15, 20 times. We can determine all of that. That's why it's more effective to do energetic testing. So the next thing, okay, you know you have Lyme, you got 3 different strains, you got 5 co-infections, you also have some secondary infections. How do you get rid of it? That's what everybody wants to know. Medical doctor will do 1 of 3 things. If they're fortunate enough to catch her on a blood test, they will put a person on 2 years antibiotics. Can you imagine what that does to your gut? Dr. Aksana was talking about gut, our gut before. That will completely destroy your gut. If you didn't have problems before, you're surely going to have now. Well, when that doesn't help, the patient is advised, well, you need to see a specialist because it's beyond my scope of expertise. And the specialist will do its own testing, or will do its own whatever they do, and will prescribe additional drugs. To imaginary diseases, more drugs, and the person is worse than it was before. When all this fails, you go back to the doctor and say, Doc, nothing in this stuff is working. We've done all the tests, nothing is working. The next thing is, well, you're crazy, because we can't find anything wrong with you, so you gotta be crazy. And that's what they do. They refer you to a psychologist because, you need some help up here. Now, we have developed an approach that eradicates the Lyme. We're not interested in managing the Lyme, because all this that is done by medical doctors, well, we'll manage your Lyme. And you're on antibiotics for 2 years, how good you think you're going to feel? Can you function after 2 years of antibiotic? Well, of course, we have a variety of homeopathic remedies that we use. We use herbs, we use essential oils. We start very slow with the person. It took many years to arrive at this, so it's going to take some time to get rid of it. We use things like oregano oil, basil oil. We have Lyme Away, there's Samantha, there's all kinds of so-called Lyme protocols out there that all seem to think that they work, but none of those work. It does help, don't get me wrong, and especially if a person cannot afford a Rife machine right away, it's a good place to start. So we do a two-pronged approach. We use the TrueRife, and we use homeopathic remedies. But now let me explain the process from a practitioner point of view. Microorganisms, including bacterium, viruses, fungi, and parasites, they all have a specific vibratory frequency or mortal oscillatory rate to which they can be exposed to, resulting in their deactivation or death. The TrueRife machine is the electronic apparatus that delivers those frequencies to the body. It delivers the frequency by applying an invisible electromagnetic field to the body that target those microorganisms. The unwanted organisms are exposed to the mortal oscillatory rate, where it literally shakes them to death. This resonance activity is similar to the way an opera singer can sing a note in a perfect pitch and shatter a glass without destroying the table that it sits on. Let me elaborate a little more how the TrueRife machine is a great weapon against Lyme disease, or any other disease for that matter. I'm going to give you 5 different reasons. Reason number 1, the ideal treatment cannot rely on blood distribution, because this would not allow for penetration to the sequestered areas of infection. The treatment must reach the brain effectively. Since the brain is highly protected by the blood-brain barrier, chemicals do not get into the brain. Reaching the brain is extremely difficult. The electromagnetic field produced by the TrueRife delivers the treatment without any resistance from the body. While antibiotics are limited by the blood distribution and the blood-brain barrier, the Rife treatments do not require blood for delivery. And this is where all other treatment fail miserably. If you rely on the blood for delivery, it will not work. You cannot get rid of the Lyme completely because it has protection against all those invaders. It sends the chemicals, it sends the antibiotics, even it sends the homeopathics. Granted, homeopathics are better because you don't have any side effects. At least you're doing some good. But it will not get rid of the Lyme 100%. Rife treatment do not require blood for delivery. The electromagnetic field penetrates the entire body, including bones, tissues, organs, etc., etc. Reason number 2, a TrueRife machine operates by vibrating the object in such a way that causes the destruction. The target vibration or mortal oscillatory rate depends on the structure of the organism. There are mortal oscillatory rate for all organisms. An engineering example, a resonant frequency, will explain this a little bit better. The Tacoma Narrow Bridge in Tacoma, Washington collapsed on November 7, 1940. Due to wind-induced resonance, the natural vibrating frequency of the bridge, or mortal oscillatory rate, was excited by the 42-mile-an-hour wind just before it collapsed. Similarly, the TrueRife creates a frequency that matches the mortal oscillatory rate of the bug and kills it dead. And that's what we want. Number 3, avoiding activation of the Lyme mechanism should be the core goal of any treatment. Most therapies are a direct chemical or environmental threat to the infection, resulting in activating their defense mechanism. The TrueRife machine silently attacks the Lyme spirochete and kills it stealthily without triggering the defense mechanism. The TrueRife machine is the only machine in the world that the spirochete bacteria is incapable of detecting, adapting to, mutating, defense, and gasting. Reason number 4, the ideal protocol must not be taxing to the body other than the inevitable Herxheimer reaction that it gets from time to time. Immunosuppressive side effects are avoided. The TrueRife therapy is safe because it is mechanical vibration without heat. And reason number 5, excuse me, due to its extensive time frame, the Lyme spirit kit it must be convenient. The therapy has to be convenient. You can't just, to be on, dozens and dozens of supplements and have dozens and dozens of lifestyle changes, because you're not going to do it. So patients, compliance is just as important as the treatment. Now, please do not misunderstand me. As Mike mentioned before, the Rife machine is not a magic bullet. It's a tool, just like any other tool. You still got to do your due diligence. You got to make sure what is the underlying problem is. But it is a very effective tool in eliminating Lyme. This is our protocol that we use. As I said before, first we match the homeopathic remedies. We use all the drainers, because there's going to be a lot of killing. The light bulb will kill, but you have to be able to take that necrotic tissue out of the body. So we use a lot of drainers, and once you kill and drain, you have to be able to build the body back up. And we do that with the minerals, vitamins, food, lifestyle changes. So we do a two-pronged approach when it comes to Lyme disease. The protocol is the overnight session with the overnight bulb. You go to the first Lyme protocol, and you use that 6 days a week. Now, most people are not able to do in a row 6 days without Herxheimer reaction. So what I tell individuals is, let's say you start tonight. You do an overnight program tonight, and tomorrow morning when you get up, you just don't feel like you're yourself. You feel like you have a cold, you are in a brain fog. Don't do it again on the next night. Do a foot bath, because you got to get rid of all that necrotic tissue that the Rife just killed. You got to get it out of the body before you can get some more benefits. So do a foot bath. If the next day you're still bad, do another foot bath, until you get to the point where you can do it 6 days a week, and then you rest on Sunday. So you need to do at least 3 or 4 foot baths during the week. All right, so the next question would be, does this really work? Or is it just theory? Well, I had a number of case studies, but because of our time constraint, I'm just going to mention one. I'm going to tell you about Candy. And she was going to be here, but unfortunately something came up last minute, and she sent me a 5-page letter. I'm not going to read it all. But she begins the story in March of 2001. She developed bronchitis, and what do they do for bronchitis? They give antibiotics. That's all they know how to do. She said she has systemic candida the whole summer, obviously. So after Thanksgiving, she was not able to eat. She survived on protein drinks, juicing, and water. Diarrhea was severe, having 35 bowel movements a day, usually during the night. Then by March 2003, she figured out, well, if I take my amalgam out, maybe it's better. Well, it wasn't better. Things got worse. She developed small blisters between her fingers. I got a few pictures. I didn't want to show all the pictures because some of those are really gross. So I just put 2 of them on top. So I didn't want to gross you out just before lunch. But she developed small blisters between her fingers. She assumed it was candida. So by April 2013, burns started forming in my armpits. And this looked good. If I would show the pictures that she sent of her ankles and her behind the knees, it looked like barnacles growing on her legs. That's how bad she was. So burns formed on her armpits, face, and neck. the body white rash. Dozens of doctors could not find what was wrong with me, and they continued giving prescriptions. In 2013, by June, the burns were so bad that I would wake up every 2 or 3 days, my skin will fall off. And my husband, we had to change the sheets every day. And my hands was hurt so bad that I couldn't type and I could not even prepare a meal. Days and weeks continued to pass since I couldn't sleep. I was up all night researching every autoimmune disease on the planet. None of them matched my symptoms. By mid-July, the symptoms got worse. I had rashes everywhere, burns appeared more and more severe. I can barely remember my name. My lymphatic was shutting down. I lost 30 pounds, my ankles were huge, and I was wearing a blanket sitting in the sun at 100-degree weather. She was a very sick lady. I reached out to a lady that I met on Facebook and asked her if she would knew any doctors that could help me. She gave me 2 names. One was us. And Aksana was the only one that returned her call. Now, a little side note on how she got this name. Our oldest son was delivering a lecture at Stanford University that summer. And obviously somebody asked her, well, what do your parents do? And he told her that my parents are naturopaths. And that's how Candy found this lady on Facebook. And that's how she was referred to us. But anyway, she says, I quickly sent a saliva and hair sample to do a SETSA test. A few days later, Aksana called me back and says, good news, we know what's wrong with you. You have Lyme. And she goes, in big letters, she goes, I asked, how is this good news?